Red State Talk Radio is now available as a voice command on your Amazon Echo and Echo Dot by simply saying, Alexa, play Red State Talk Radio.
Red State Talk Radio on TuneIn.
Concern to every single American. Now, we've been hearing all these stories about sanctuary cities that...
You can now find us on the Amazon Echo and Echo Dot, on TuneIn, on iHeartRadio, and we also have the phone apps in the App Store for your particular phone. And just in case we activated your Echo Dot, Alexa, stop.
Hey, this is Leonora Cravota from Red State Talk Radio for MyPillow. I used to have trouble sleeping. MyPillow changed all that. I now fall asleep within moments of my head touching my pillow. That's how comfortable MyPillow is with its patented interlocking fill. MyPillow stays cool and does not go flat. Plus, it's machine washable and dryable. MyPillow has a 10-year warranty and a 60-day comfort guarantee. MyPillow is also the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation, and it's made right here in the USA. MyPillow is now offering Red State Talk Radio listeners a 4-pack special with 2 premium standard or queen pillows and 2 go anywhere pillows. That's 4 pillows for the price of 1. To take advantage of this special offer, call 1-800-961-9194 and ask for promo code Red State. That's 1-800-961-9194, promo code Red State. Put sleepless nights behind you with MyPillow, the most comfortable pillow you will ever own.
I just want to ask a question. Who really cares? Save a world in despair. Who really cares?
It follows a water crisis in Flint that began 4 years ago when the city started drawing water from the Flint River.
Male in a white t-shirt.
There's far too many of you dying.
14 million more
You
Americans
know
would be
we've got to
uninsured
find
next
a
year.
way.
Hey, welcome to the Reality Check with Charles Butler. Little Marvin Gaye talking about what's going on. You know, it's always it's incredible to me how people try to tag on to some of these songs of the past. And Marvin Gaye was classic. Marvin Gaye was his album, What's Going On. I have it over in my radio collection, the original, in the original jacket. And it's just amazing that his songs are still so relevant today as they were then, like What's Going On. It's timeless. It's, you go, well, what is going on? You think about, what has transpired, what's different today than when Marvin put this song out. And I can tell you, Vietnam was going on. I had friends in Vietnam, and, these were kids that I grew up with who were in Vietnam, man. And, we look back at it now and, everybody had somebody or knew somebody who was in Vietnam. And today, hardly only 2% of people know folks who are out here giving their life, putting their life on the line, fighting. It's amazing. But I'm going to play a little Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, because I want to know what's going on. I want to know, how can a lowly, nobody employee of the federal government think that he or she, well, we know it's a he now, can say to the president, what you're saying is totally inappropriate. Kind of reminds me of some of my some of the stories that I told you guys, about this little boy who was telling me what I needed to do, that I needed to stop and wait for this woman in a wheelchair who was about 20 feet behind me before I went in the door, because that's what he felt like doing. I mean, really? We, I question, and I was at the gym this morning, and some people were talking about what's going on. And it's always good to stop and kind of reflect. And I'm looking at a YouTube video, actually, of Marvin, and he's getting ready to start singing What's Going On. Listen to this.
Father, there's too many of you crying. Brother, There's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today.
Okay. And what do you say? Hey, brother, there's too many of you die. Brothers were dying in Vietnam like flies. Brothers constituted 60-70% of combat units. Al Gore was sitting behind a damn desk in Saigon, sitting behind a desk typing, talking about he was a warrior. He's a damn lie. He's a fat, southern, racist ass Tennessee dude waiting to run for his daddy's Senate seat in Tennessee, who was, by the way, an ardent racist. Al Gore Sr., ardent racist. Check his record out. All Democrats, North and South. Let me repeat, especially during that time, were ardent racist, overt racist. Chicago, one of the most racist cities in the country, according to not Charles Butler, but Dr. Martin Luther King. He said the people in the South, they hate you. He said, but the people in Chicago, they want to kill you. Hey, I'm just saying. So all you so-called Democrats out there, you liberals, you ignorant black people who go out and give your vote to these Democrats and then say, well, why is this happening to me? Why are you living in war zones, hell zones? Can't sit in the front of your house because the bullets are flying through, and you think that somehow you have been enfranchised. You have the franchise. You don't. And you have to listen to these dumb, ignorant black commentators on radio like Laura Coates and Joe Madison and Karen Hunter. And, we just go up and down the line of the local ignorant people like here in Chicago. And some of these people, they're my friends, but they're still ignorant. Matt McGill, love Matt to death, but he's dumb. He's dumb as dirt and doesn't know anything about history. Like we were talking about the mosque in New York being named Cordova. And he said, oh, well, my friend's dad used to have a Cordoba. It was a convertible. We used to ride all around town. No, fool, Cordova. The mosque was being named after a Muslim victory over Christians, very famous Muslim victory over Christians in Spain. Anyway. Boy. But, Americans are dumb. And that's why people can get away. Obama thought he could get away and did get away. Let me repeat. Obama did get away with saying this to Medved about what he could do after his last election. And nobody said anything because it was Obama. It's Obama. Listen.
My last election, yeah. After my election, I have more flexibility. My last election, yeah. After my election, I have more flexibility.
That was an open mic moment. A hot mic moment. Oh my God. The president is colluding with the Russians. Tell Vlad, this is my last election, and after the election, I can be more flexible. Flexible on what? Flexible, easier on Russia? Now, everybody's dogging Trump. Trump never hasn't been caught saying something like that to the president of Russia. He hasn't been caught saying anything inappropriate to the Russians or the Ukrainians or anyone else. And as a matter of fact, one of the things that I want to clarify, and I'm trying to cross-reference this, and this is when Manafort, I'm looking at right now, but I wanted to look it up earlier, and I tried to cross-reference this. Manafort working with the Ukrainians, I think that happened when he was working with the Ukrainians. When? Let's see, Manafort. Working with you. I want to find out when that happened, because I think when that happened, he was employed by the Podesta group. Yeah, John Podesta, the guy who was running Hillary Clinton's campaign and who's currently the chairman of the DNC. Manafort working with. Come on. Manafort working with Ukrainians. Let's see what happens here. And I just want to find out the timing of this, because I think it was during the time in 2005 he was hired by Ukrainian steel magnet, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, this was when he was working for the Podesta Group. Now, why people don't know that, or why they can't put that together, I don't know. Why they can't put that together, I don't know. That he was working for the Podesta Group. They act like he was working for Trump as Trump's campaign manager. That's how they try to conflate things. And see, most people are so dumb, they just assume, assume, make an ass of you and me, that this is true, that he was working for Trump when he contacted the Ukrainians. No. Now, speaking of the Ukrainians and Trump and Giuliani and Cuomo, oh man, this was a great exchange the other day between Chris Cuomo and Rudy Giuliani, two Italians. Now you know why WASP tried to keep Italians out of America, the Italian Americans. You know, these two guys argued for 30 minutes. Totally Italian. But, you know, blacks do the same thing. WASP, they don't get bent out of shape as much. I mean, you remember you listen to some of the discussions between WASP. They kind of, toast, kind of plain. But these Italians and these blacks, they bring so much emotion to the argument. Let's listen to Chris Cuomo and Giuliani. You got to listen to this. This is good.
Because what you just said is totally erroneous. It is sad to watch what happened to you. It's sad.
Sad what happened to me. I'm a sellout.
You are a sellout.
You are telling me that I'm a sellout.
These are standing up for two systems of justice.
Oh, I'm
Joe
standing
Biden
up for two systems of justice.
You're just repeating spin. The prosecutor,
but you don't, right? You're not spinning anything. Go ahead.
I'm not spinning a damn thing.
Did you ask the Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden?
No, actually, I did.
So you did ask Ukraine to look into Joe Biden?
Of course I did.
Yeah, look, you should have your hand on your face. You know why? This is all a distraction from what I asked you for.
No, it isn't a distraction, Chris. What you just said is totally wrong. Let's talk like lawyers for a minute.
All right, good. Then respect this lawyer asking you. Hold on. I don't want to hear it. Rudy, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole.
I taught law. You're going to listen.
You want to say I won't cover it because I'm like this, right? You say?
Oh, man, when I
now you won't give me the proof.
Show, I'm not going to give you proof like the stupid New York Times story the other day.
Now, listen. Did
you cover that? How the Times really screwed up the other day?
Listen,
did you cover it?
If the complaint had come out,
you don't answer it.
Well, I'm trying to get a question out. Will you finally answer my question now that we're 12 minutes in?
Well, do we really believe he didn't know his son was under investigation?
Why won't you answer the question?
What's the question? What's the question?
Thank you.
If you don't want to hear from me, just cut me off.
No, I will never cut you off.
The fact is you're blinded. You're blinded by your prejudice. And your network is a creature of the Democratic National Committee. I think your network is.
I know.
I think your network is a horror.
Say it all to me face to face, and we can get it out.
I am
the hell you're not. But that's okay.
You. I don't know.
You've been very insulting. You've been very circumspect. Very distracting.
I'm very insulting directly to your face. You don't think there's a deep state?
Listen,
of course there is.
I think there's a little bit of a deep state going on right in this conversation.
If Adam Schiff sent me a letter, I would just tear it up and throw it in the
Yeah, of course.
Biden's bribery in Ukraine.
One sticky wicket at a time.
It's all over the internet. Go read it. I have. Why would I give the enemy the documents? You are not. I'm a lawyer, Chris.
I know what you are.
I'm going to finish this sentence. Let me finish, Chris. Let me finish. Wait.
The Inspector General.
Let me finish.
You've been talking the whole time.
Cut me off.
You're covering it up so much that I've kept this interview going 28 minutes and let you say it a dozen times.
And interrupted me 500 times.
That's how afraid of it I am. Have a good night.
Well, you shouldn't have a good night because what you're doing is very bad for the country.
Wow. That was something, wasn't it? This actually happened. I mean, it was like 28 minutes. I watched the YouTube. I didn't watch it because I don't watch Chris Cuomo. But God, that was interesting, wasn't it? Giuliani and Chris Cuomo going at it, man. They did not let up. They did not back off. Neither one of them. It was beautiful. It's beautiful, beautiful. Speaking of which, and we're still trying to find out who leaked the information to the media, this so-called whistleblower. There's a procedure to blow the whistle. Yes, there's a procedure to be a whistleblower. There is a procedure that you should follow. And it's not to run to the media like James Comey did or some others. That's why they're in trouble. There is a process. So that's where we're getting into this gray area where this person who leaked this document, I think it's a deep stater myself, a very deep state. I mean, like I said, when does an employee of an intelligence company or intelligence agency decide what's best for the country? Hello. Anyway, and they don't. That's the point. They don't. And this whistleblower shouldn't have. And he should have used the proper procedures. He should have used the proper channels. And like I said, that's not to run to the media and get his day of fame or his claim to fame or whatever he's trying to pursue. It's not going to work out well. Unfortunately, it's not going to work out well, man. And people are just not playing with these folks anymore because it's damaging to the country on a number of different levels. Justin Trudeau. Oh, man. Justin Trudeau. He's not his father. And I've always said that. He's not his dad. But neither is Mark Morial or Martin Luther King III or Donald Trump Jr. They're not their dad. Justin Trudeau falls right in with that group of people. Here's a young man, and he wasn't so young when he was blackface. He's 29 years old, he's 30 years old. Going blackface. Everybody else is dressed in Arab gear, the theme of the event, but he decides to put on blackface. Now, let me tell you how some in the black media try to frame this because they like Justin Trudeau because he's such a liberal. They call it brown face. He put on brown face. That's Laura Coates. Brown face. I never heard that expression before. Brown face. And then she went into this long litany and this long discussion about what blackface was. But she still, when it came to Trudeau, he didn't have blackface. He had brown face. Well, the truth is he had blackface. It wasn't brown makeup. It was black. Just like the vaudevillians and the people in the movie like the L. Jolsons and folks like that. Blackface. Wasn't brown face. And it was definitely to be disrespectful to blacks and people of an African persuasion. So I know a lot of you don't know that Arabs are black. Yes, the Middle East was black before those people came down out of Asia Minor, the Prussians and those folks. The Egyptians, yes, the Egyptians were black. All that stuff from 6,000 BC, black people. Yes, black. I know that breaks the narrative, but, go check it out. Go do your homework. At the end of the day, Europeans were still running around in caves. Europeans didn't have calendars. Europeans did, or those people who lived in Europe, we call it Europe now, but those people who lived in that part of the world, they didn't build great palaces and great pyramids and great canals and aqueducts and things like. Even the Romans, the Romans learned to build aqueducts from the Egyptians. Well documented. So getting back to my boy Justin Trudeau and his blackface. He said, well, first when he came out, he said, well, one other occasion I was I put on blackface, and then another accusation came out. So now this is 3 that we know of, right? Boom, boom, boom. And the guys, he said he comes out yesterday and he's on the lawn and he's trying to justify, why he did what he did, and he knows that it's wrong now. And no, you just know you got busted, dude. That's what happened. Justin Trudeau got busted. So now he's trying to focus his attention on his reelection after a hell of a week in Canadian politics. And he didn't recall how many times that he was in brown face. Well, actually, it's blackface. It's not brown face. That's what this article says. Brown face. No, it's blackface. So we go up here. It says Trudeau spent today walking the streets of East Toronto, posing for pictures with residents and unveiling his party's newest campaign pledge to move to restrict handguns, ban assault style rifles, and begin buying back military-grade weapons that were legally purchased. He made the announcement near to the site of a gun rampage last year when Faisal Hussein shot 15 people, killing 2. Well, Canada doesn't have many mass shootings. And by the way, the Canadians need guns, especially when they're out there on the freeway and the highway. They don't know what they're going to run into. They still have wild animals in Canada, man. They have bears. They have all kinds of stuff in Canada. Canada is not like the United States. It may be on our northern border and north of us, but it's a different country. Be clear about that. And outside of the pockets of population, it's very, very, very rural and very, very wild. Okay. So Justin goes on to say, as long as Canadians are losing their loved ones to gun violence, not enough has changed. Really. He went on to say, we know you do not need a military-grade assault weapon. Here's a guy who clearly never served in the military or clearly doesn't know much about weapons. Because what we have, these AR-15s and AK-47s, are replicas of assault rifles. They're not assault rifles. One designed to kill the largest amount of people in the shortest amount of time to take down a deer. Well, truth be known, Justin, because you're so stupid, a 30-06 is far more lethal than an AR-15 or a replica of an AK-47. But that's how dumb you are, and people like you. You're just dumb. We use a 30-06 to kill a deer is far more powerful than an AR-15 round at 223 or 5.56. So he's trying to switch the argument or the attention from brown face, black face to gun control. From blackface to gun control. He's not doing a good job. He's not having a good go at it because people are hip to him. They're like, hey, even Donald Trump weighed in on the scandal. And he told reporters from the Oval Office today that he was surprised by the number of times Trudeau appeared in photos wearing blackface. And that's the thing. It wasn't 1. It wasn't 2. It was like 3 that surfaced like, bam, like immediately, bam. Here they are, bam. So, Justin, how many times have you done this? Oh, well, one other time, then another one comes up. And probably another one. So anyway, Trudeau issued a second apology yesterday, and he was unable to say how many times he actually wore brown face or black face, or if any more images may surface. So because he's done it quite a bit. He thought it was funny, making fun of black people. He's going to be defeated. He's in a close election. He's pretty much going to be defeated. He's toast. He's toast. Even liberals aren't going to go out and back him because he's a hypocrite. Justin said this to reporters yesterday, and he didn't admit to the third incident because he said he didn't remember it occurring. But he says the fact is that I did not understand how hurtful this is to people who live with discrimination every single day. I've always acknowledged that I come from a place of privilege, but I now need to acknowledge that comes with a massive blind spot. Bullshit. Total bullshit. TBS, total bull crap. Totally. He knew what he was doing. That's why he did it. Talking about a massive blind spot. Yeah, right. Oh, man. You can't make this stuff up, people. Said, I think the real measure of a man, this is Trudeau. No, this is a guy named Greg Fergus. He's a member of the Federal Black Caucus and a liberal, again, stupid black person, a liberal member of parliament. He said, I think the real measure of a man, and I think the thing that we need to be talking about is all the amazing things we have done for diversity, meaning anyone but black people. So women, Indians, Latinos, anybody but blacks. So if you're brown, stick around. If you're white, you're all right. If you're black, get back. Everybody knows that from my era. you know, like Desi Arnaz, he stuck around. Nat King Cole didn't. The leader of the Conservative Party, Andrew Scheer, had previously said that Trudeau has lost the moral authority to govern following the Prime Minister's 2 apologies for his racist images. I don't know if that's true or not. I just know that it says something about his character. And he has to, he has to deal with it. Would I vote for him? Hell no, but I wouldn't have voted for him from the get-go. Trudeau and brownface. Trudeau, I just didn't know it. I didn't know this was going to hurt people. Well, why'd you do it, dude? Why'd you put it on? Interesting, huh? Judge Kavanaugh. I was just supposed to talk about Judge Kavanaugh earlier on another show, Alan Nathan's show. And he says how Brett Kavanaugh got his last laugh. I talked about this a little earlier in the week, the education of Brett Kavanaugh. And the issue of sexual misconduct allegations have just gone nonsensical and been blown out of proportion, in my opinion. Like these charges against Antonio Brown, that all of a sudden his personal trainer decided that she'd been raped 3 times, and she went to work for him because she needed the job. But TBS. This is a woman who was getting it on with this football player, and she thought that, hey, my stuff is so good, I'm going to pull him. And no, he's married to his baby's mamas, and he's happy. And, a lot of women are like that. They think, okay, I have sex with this man, and I'm going to take him from his husband, or from his wife, his husband. Thinking of something else here. His wife. Not going to happen. Bill Clinton, not leaving Hillary. Hey, Monica Lewinsky, I don't care what you did for the president, the cigar thing, the oral sex. He wasn't leaving Hillary. Done deal. So, yeah, you got used. But, hey, men, women, it's been going on since the beginning of time. What's new? Nothing. So, one Sunday morning, Ted Cruz made an appearance on This Week. The interviewer's first question was, given the shape of the weekend news cycle, it wasn't surprising that the host asked the senator about the new book. What new book? The Education of Brett Kavanaugh, an adaptation of which had been published the day before in the New York Times. I read it. No, you guys read it. The essay, written, as was the book itself, by two New York Times reporters, not the magazine, two New York Times reporters, one Robin Bograben and Kate Kelly. Now, it was suggested, for one thing, that Kavanaugh might have misrepresented his past while testifying before the Senate Judiciary Committee last year. And everyone said, oh, he perjured himself. First, Camilla Harris is right out front. Oh, he lied to Congress. We need to impeach Brett Kavanaugh. She said that last Saturday. We need to impeach Brett Kavanaugh. No, we don't need to call him in and ask him his side of the story. We just need to impeach him because the women said so. See, they want to jump to these conclusions, except when it's Bill Clinton, except when it's Strom Thurmond, except when it's Wilbur. What was Wilbur's last name? He had a black mistress. I can't come with her name right now. His name right now. You can't make this stuff up. But they suggested that the allegations brought by Deborah Ramirez, who was discounted by the FBI, who was discredited by the FBI, her testimony, her story didn't sync up. She can't even remember the incident happened, when it happened, where it happened. She just knows it happened. I mean, really? Oh, man. I'm serious. This woman, Ramirez, has said, well, I don't know where, when it happened, but I just know it happened. She's lying, just like Blasey Ford. I won't even call her a doctor because she's not. She never sat for her boards, never sat for her finals. So Blasey Ford, liar, pants on fire. But they want to discredit this man. See, we have a lot of this male attacks going on in America today. And we have guys who don't stand up for themselves. They won't stand up and fight back. Well, I stand up and fight back. Like I fought back against this woman.
Grammarly does more than catch errors.
Like I fought back against this woman judge who I thought disrespected me, treated me poorly, called me a liar. At 2 sentences in, I'd never seen this woman before in life. She called me a liar immediately upon entering her court because I'm a black man. And she thinks that she has some power, this white woman, and not understanding that I, Charles Butler, believe in the Constitution, took an oath that I believe in as a veteran to serve my country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I've run into far more domestic enemies than foreign. And white women are certainly not the friend of black men. Let's be very clear about that. Never have been. Which really makes me angry that Frederick Douglass taught Susan B. Anthony so much about what she needed to do to get woman suffrage. And the first thing Susan B. Anthony did when Frederick Douglass died was to kick all the black women out of the suffrage movement. And she declared loudly and proudly that the white woman would never get suffrage as long as the Negro women were in the suffrage movement. True story. Look it up. So Elizabeth Warren, she was at the square in Washington Square in New York. And I listened to her talk about men. She was at Washington Square and she dogged me on whether we're here not because of men. And I'm going, why? I couldn't, I couldn't get the context except to say that we're glad that there are no men around. We're all women and, we don't want men around. And I don't know It was, well, what about your husbands? What about the father of your children? But see, none of that seems to be important to people like Elizabeth Warren, because she has her own reality. And I tell you, I was just taken away. I was blown away. Had her own segregationist gaffed in the Washington rally. Well, I'm going to try to play this for you, where she made this statement about being in Washington Square and there not being any men there. And I thought about it, and I said, my God, I mean, this is a woman who hates men. But there are a lot of women out there who purport to hate men. They're following in black women's footsteps. Black women have been there for a very long time. I mean, look at Michelle Obama. She constantly undermines Barack, constantly puts Barack down. But he is such a wuss and such a weenie. I mean, if somebody broke into that household, I can tell you Michelle would be on it. Barack would be, well, can we talk about this? Why did you decide to break into my house tonight? I don't understand. After all the things I've tried to give to you, I sit down, I talk to criminals, I empathize with you, I sympathize with you, I want to pardon you. Well, I hope those same criminals dates his daughters.
I'm running for president.
Democratic presidential hopeful.
Oh, there she is. Elizabeth Warren. She is too funny. She takes the stage and she starts cutting in the men. Listen to this. Here we go.
No high-ranking public official should be thinking about their next job while they're collecting a paycheck to represent the American people. So I have a lifetime ban on senators, congressmen, and cabinet secretaries from ever being lobbyists.
Warren's plan would require presidents and vice presidents to place business assets in blind trusts and require all federal candidates.
Our government. No high-ranking public.
Thousands turned up for a Warren rally in New York City, where the senator pressed her case.
Our democracy is paralyzed. And why? Because giant corporations have bought off our government.
Wow. And she really believes that. I mean, she's not playing. She really believes it. But I want to play this segregationist gaffe that she made. Now, I'm familiar with Washington Square. Why am I familiar with Washington Square? Because my young daughter attended what's this place? NYU. So, you can't go anywhere at NYU without, traversing past Washington Square. So, Elizabeth Warren hailed a lady named Frances Perkins, who became a workers' rights activist after the deadly fire of 1911 Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire. It killed all these women who were immigrants and basically cheap labor. They were working in what we would call a sweatshop today. And there were no fire alarms. There was no water. These women were burned alive. I don't know if you've ever heard that story, but it's horrible. And the factory is located on University of New York University's campus. So Frances Perkins had a less admirable and less well-known legacy later in life as a critic of the Brown versus Board of Education decision that outlawed segregation in schools. And Americans, she said at the time of the 1954 decision, should be nice to Negroes, but not necessarily have to go to school with them. See, again, white woman makes these comments about black people. This white, liberal, working rights white woman says that, yeah, Negroes, we need to be nice to them, but we don't need to go to school with them. We don't need to be around them. I can tell you that when race riots broke out, they broke out over one of two things: police misconduct or white women lying on black men about rape. So, and the Massachusetts Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren left herself in a position that her staff didn't want to talk about following her own harsh criticism of fellow presidential candidate Joe Biden over his tone-deaf comments about being pals with a couple of segregationist Southern senators. Oh, that's too funny. So Warren in June said of Biden's gaffes, "I'm not here to criticize other Democrats, but it's never okay to celebrate segregationists. Never." But she did. She celebrated. She celebrated Frances Perkins, who was a segregationist by any stretch of the imagination. So during her speech in Washington Square Monday, she extolled Perkins' activism after the factory fire that killed 146 women and injured 78. Most, like I said, most of them women. Frances pushed from the inside, and she later served as a labor secretary under FDR. Interesting. Again, white woman holding a cabinet seat before a black man. Interesting. See, you remember when men ruled the roost. Black men have always been in competition and fighting vehemently against white women supplanting them and trying to compete with them. Can't compete, not on an equal level, not even in anything. And black guys and white guys are totally different. That's why if white guys played in the NBA and dominated the NBA, women would play in the NBA. Why? Because you don't have to dunk. You don't have to dominate over the rim. The NBA is a game that dominates over the rim. A lot of the game is played way over the rim. In the WNBA, below the rim. Women's college basketball, below the rim. That's why a lot of guys could play in those leagues, because you don't have to jump up over the rim. Whereas if they played in the NBA, dude would just take them to the hoop and dunk on them every time. Hoop, 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 hoop. You know, they had that the booty bump rule. They took out Charles Barkley, remember, because he just backed people down with his big butt and dunk on them. Anyway, Perkins had negative views of the landmark Supreme Court civil rights case, according to Stephen White, an assistant professor of political science at Syracuse University, who cited her comments in his 2014 dissertation. He said, "Well, I think it was terrible, but it was purely a political decision, and I think it should never have been made. I do indeed. I don't know how they got it," said Perkins of the Brown v. Board of Education. She said, "I mean, Earl Warren is a very diplomatic fellow, and he talked them into it, but there's more to be said on it than they did," said Perkins in an interview in the 1950s, referring to the then Chief Justice. When the interviewer replied that it was damn long overdue, Perkins disagreed. She said, "No, it's not overdue. It's just begun to loom up as due. As nearly due. No, wait, nobody ever heard that segregation was wrong until about 5 years ago. I never heard such a thing. I never heard such a thing." She said, "Certainly we should be nice to Negroes. Certainly we should treat them right." Perkins died in 1965 at 85. So she was in her late 70s and the early 60s during that interview. So she knew what she was talking about. Racist white woman. A lot of racist white women out here, and I run into them all the time. especially when they have a position of power. So whether it's a woman cop or a flight attendant. I mean, I've had flight attendants tell me to raise my seat because the guy in back of me needed more room. But I've never, let me repeat, never, ever had a flight attendant tell the guy in front of me to raise the seat because I needed more room. And when this flight attendant said that to me, I said, are you going to tell the person in front of me to raise his seat? She said, no, he needs room. Like I didn't. I'm not talking about the 60s. I'm not talking about the 70s. I'm talking about a year ago. So don't tell me that white women are racist and that white women are somehow a socially and economically disadvantaged minority. I don't buy into that. I don't buy into that at all. But Liz Warren, not only does she celebrate segregationists, white women segregationists, she said, I'm glad there are no men here. And I listened to this and I'm going, wow, that's deep. You know, it just threw me. It threw me so much that I had to go tape it. I'm trying to find it right now, but I had to tape it. I was like, wait a minute. This woman is saying that
this is not another ordinary car channel.
Oops.
I'm not here.
This woman is saying that men, she's glad that men aren't here at this rally. And I'm going, what's that all about? I mean, we're all in this together. We're all Americans. That's what I thought, right? But no, let Liz Warren tell it. It's us women against them, the men. Wow. Amazing. Whoa, boy. Amazing. So I'm going to try to find that clip. I don't think I can. Rodman Madonna offered me $2 million to something. I'm going to try to find that clip of Liz Warren talking about, let's see, that men don't matter. It was horrible. It was horrible. I'm glad that men aren't here. We're not here because of men. I'm like, whoa. Well, what about your husband who supports you? You know, it's amazing. But, you know, we have this misandry going on. That's what it's called, misandry. When women hate men. We call it misogyny when men hate women. We call it misandry when women hate men. For those of you who want to look it up, it's MISANDY, misandry. Wow. So, man, I tell you, it's, it's a lot going on out here. And President Trump is in a little trouble right now. But the question becomes, how does a low-level intelligence person decide what he's saying to another leader is inappropriate? And then one of the guys yesterday, when in talking about this, the president was on the border yesterday in Otay Mesa, near San Diego, and he's talking about the wall and how one wall was tall. He had two walls. One was 18 feet, the other was 30 feet. He was talking about the details of the wall and you know, kind of things that they built into the wall. And he said to the head Border Patrol agent there, he said, would you like to tell them about some of the things we built into the wall? And the Border Patrol agent said, no, Mr. President, I'd rather not. And he said, oh, okay, good. And, you know, it's no big deal. But we're not talking about things that are classified here because they're going to come out sooner or later. It's not classified. But, you know, the Border Patrol agent was just trying to be polite and considerate and say, you know, well, we're not going to talk about what we're doing and what we've done to divert people trying to climb this wall, because they say when you get to the top, that the wall is heated. It absorbs heat. And so the wall is heated, folks. So when you get up there, it will burn you. These guys have thought of everything, almost. And they built in drone capabilities. They build in radio. They build in video. It's just a high-tech wall. And that's what they were talking about. It's a high-tech wall. They love it. Now, what's really going to be interesting is there's an inmate in Texas. He's 78 years old. He says he's killed more than 90 people as he moved around the country over the last 4 decades. He offered his confession as a bargaining chip to be moved to a California prison. The question becomes, he killed 90 people. Why didn't they give him the death penalty? Why is he still living? Why is he still breathing? Why is he still above ground? Question, answer, liberals. Until something happens to them or theirs, then they're the worst people. They want to abuse the law. They want to forget about the law. They want to forget about habeas corpus. They want to forget about innocent till proven guilty when something happens to their family or to them, because it's the worst thing that could ever happen. But this man has said he's killed over 90 people. That's amazing. And I bet you other innocent people went to prison because of this serial killer. So we'll see. Tick, 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 tock. Stay tuned. They're not talking about it in the media. And that's because some of these law enforcement agencies have done such a poor job. They've done such a poor job that innocent people are in jail for crimes they didn't commit, murders they didn't commit. Now, I bet you this is going to spawn away. He said he killed 90 people. I bet you probably 20 people that were convicted and are serving life sentences were innocent. Anybody want to take me up on that bet? You can always call in. Let me see. I didn't open up the phone lines today. Let's see. Let's do that. We have a couple of minutes left. Oh, we only have a couple of minutes left. No, I'm not going to open the lines up. But it has been an interesting week, and I hope you enjoyed my dialogue today. Brett Kavanaugh, the education of Brett Kavanaugh. And these women, they wrote this book without a lot of validation or corroboration of their premise or their facts or their notes. They just said, well, we put it down. We couldn't get anybody to verify it. So we just said, well, we couldn't verify this. However, boom. And they said, yeah, Judge Kavanaugh raped 24 women. No, I mean, they just said anything they wanted to say to sell books. I'm not going to buy the book. I may rent it from the library. I may ask them to send me a copy, but I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to let them give them the satisfaction of having my money. Nope, not going to do it. Hey, look, have a good one. We're gone. Yep.
Hey, this is Leonora Cravota from Red State Talk Radio for My Pillow. I used to have trouble sleeping. My Pillow changed all that. I now fall asleep within moments of my head touching my pillow.
Okay, we're out. Talk to you later. Have a good one. Have a good weekend. We are gone.